All right, so here's the UPS shipping box. And for those of you into unboxing ASMR, I don't know why you would be. But if you are, let me not drop said camera. Um, you're going to hear some tape getting cut right now. Tap the box. Sounds like there's a lot of packing foam in here, which I hope there is. So let me find a corner and with my scalpel like cutting here, like an incision. This is grabs, you're funny. So I'm going to try when I get products related to the stream to unbox them live. These do end up on YouTube. You can find my YouTube channel at ReaperPC-Live. Okay, a piece of this started to stick out when I cut there, so hopefully I didn't just cut something on the inside. Thank you very much, Luzin. So check that channel out. My previous unboxings are there, as well as other content, including the streams if you happen to miss them. They are altered, condensed, edited versions of the stream. The intro shorter, the outro shorter, the whole link review section that's missing. You got to be here for the live experience for those. But in here should be. Now we're. All right. Oh, this is what I was seeing sticking out. The RetroTink logo. So that's the logo. Pyro was good with you. All right, so looks like we have well bubble wrapped on the inside. Not much as far as product branding outside of the logo. First off, out of this corner, I'm not sure what that is yet, but clearly a USB-C to USB-A cable, and it's braided. Let's see what this smaller item is that came out of that section, shall we? This looks like, oh, not me dropping it. It's a micro SD and SD card reader, which leads me to believe that one of these ends, yep, it's USB-C on that side, so I'm going to assume the other side is USB-A. Yep, that's nice. So these are included with the package. That's a nice touch. I forgot, or I didn't take note that that was something that shipped with this. This is a nice touch, because the RetroTinks, their firmware and profiles are updated via an SD card. All right, so the next item down here. Okay, this looks like a remote. Oh, wow. These gloves are very slippery against the plastic. So, gain auto. So these are for changing the various modes under RetroTink. You can change film grain, you can change coloring, there's a lot you can do to change the final product of the image. For those that don't know what a RetroTink is, it is a brand of upscaling devices. So you can plug in your older consoles, your VHS players, whatever standard def or lower, or even 1080p or lower, I should say, right? Devices into it, and it will process the image and give you, in this case, a 4K, 1440p, or 1080 output, and it can apply filters. So if you want it to look like it would on a CRT TV, it can clean up the image and reproduce it for you at the higher resolution, but with the effect of it being on a CRT. You folks have seen me use those really cheap line doublers before, and on those consoles, you see it produces a very hazy, very grainy, rough look. This device should resolve that. And now I'm going to take out the RetroTink itself. Or just take out more bubble wrap by accident. And there's nothing else in the box. All right, so this is well sealed. Like, somebody did not want this damaged at all. And there goes the rabbit logo again. So pull this off without dropping it. It is in here in a tight squeeze. That's probably registering on the mic. And here we go. The RetroTink. There's a handprint here. Clearly not from me. I'm wearing these, but probably from the guy who packed it. So here's what I mean. There goes all of your old school inputs and some new school. There's some HDMI. But you have your component here. This also doubles as your RC inputs. If anybody remembers those. Really, Nakia? If anybody remembers those are your yellow, red, and white, right? Also, component was our red, green, and blue are broken out, but you still had the red and white for audio. Your VGA, which I'm going to use heavily for the Dreamcast, right? And then HDMI in and out. If you're wondering why you need HDMI with an upscaler, the PS3 now is a device that technically doesn't do modern high-end resolutions. This now will cleanly upscale that for you. If I remember correctly, oh, there goes the built-in SD card. Well, not built-in, the included SD card in that corner. That's meant to be used with that USB reader, right? And if I could eject it, what size did they give us? 8 gig. So there should be some pre-built-in profiles, highly rated ones from the community already, and I should probably do a firmware update before I first use it. So I'll just put the firmware update files on that with that nice USB file, boot it up with it, and it will take care of the rest. There's also a sliding door here in the front of it. If I can get a grip with the gloves on. There we go. So, and there goes some front-bound RCA and S-video inputs. So technically I can plug in most, if not all of the consoles back there, and now the PlayStation up here. I'm going to route them all to this somehow. Cable management is going to be a thing. And with that remote, there should be there's an input button right up here. So I can switch between the inputs and just have them all on this. Oh, and for those that are serious about this, a SCART interface, which is for raw RGB inputs. I've never used one of those interfaces before, but this does have it. Yeah, this is the RetroTink. So one thing to note, this thing is powered right off a regular USB-C power brick, which is why they just include this with no power brick. So I could technically power it from the computer if I wanted to. Having optical audio in is interesting. But I'll give y'all another brief. So for anyone with lower scale stuff, this also will come in handy, by the way. This also will come in handy for anyone with a VHS or Laserdisc collection, or even your DVDs. If you want to rip them or record them somehow in a higher res format, this will upscale. Will it be as good as if you're resampling the source material or buying a re-release that comes out on 4K Blu-ray? No. It won't possibly be as good as a 4K Blu-ray re-release unless it's a bad 4K Blu-ray re-release. But that being said, if you just want to use your existing source materials, this is how you preserve them in a higher end format. Especially anything film-based, VHS tapes, Betamax, home video that was on some form of tape. the clock is ticking on that tape, right? Unless you have some sort of hermetically sealed environment, it's degrading over time. You can now put that stuff through this upscaler, end up with a digital format on the other end, and keep it for however long you have that digital format. Back up your stuff, by the way, people. But this is a solid build quality. This is good. And it came right out of California. Apparently the remote passed QA. Let's look at this without the plastic. Like how the autofocus is getting tripped out by me raising the remote. Looks like these buttons at the bottom don't do anything. Oh, and here's how you can change the resolutions on the fly. 4K, 1440, 1080, 480. Sync, buffer, phases. I think full control is right here. What kind of batteries does this take? I'm sorry, does this have a screw hole? No, it doesn't. I guess that's a reset hole. Oh, AAA's. Not bad. I happen to have AAA's right here. So I can make that happen right now. Ideally, I'll have this live for the next stream, and we'll see how good Intrepid Izzy looks on the Dreamcast. So for the Dreamcast, y'all have seen I've started with RCA. You saw how that looked. Then I went to VGA. It looked better, right? But that's VGA into a raw HDMI converter into the HD60 capture card. Now I can take VGA in here. I can upscale that to 1080 or 1440, which is the native of my monitor, and produce a cleaner image. And if I wanted to, I could tell it, hey, yo, while we're at it, let's get some CRT grid lines in here. And we can replicate what that would have looked like on a CRT display. But yeah, so VGA and then the audio in will go right there. I just have to figure out the cable